Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and happy to come to you from our world headquarters in Tucson, Arizona, to talk to you a little bit about the coin market, the coin industry, coin collecting, and whatever else piques our interest at any given time, going off of some of your questions that I will have some kind of an answer for, discussion, dialogue. In the meantime, of course, as always, like, share, subscribe. Those things are okay, but also just hang out and have fun. We appreciate it. Housekeeping items, I will be at the Albuquerque Coin Show in the third weekend here, April 19, 2021 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that is going to be, this is the year 2024, Anno Domini. And then the Central State Show, I will be at the Central State Show. I don't remember my table number, so I will look into that and we will post it on the community tab page. It's like 717 or 8,742 or something like that. So the Central State Show is huge. For those of you who have not been, it is in Schaumburg, Illinois, which I've been told is not Chicago, even though it's like 3 seconds from there. But I get it. I get it. It is not Chicago. There's a line you crossed. I understand it completely. It's Schaumburg. And that is the first weekend in May. So I think the dates are May 2 through 5, 2 through 4, something like that. But check it out. If you are anywhere within like an 8-hour drive, it's worth going. And let me tell you about this show. They have like 500 plus tables on the main concourse area, and then I think they have more tables upstairs. And it's kind of a big deal, you know, so I'm going to go do the big deal. I don't go to all the big deals, but we're going to go to this one, and I hope to have some fun. Hope to meet some of you there. If you haven't come to a show yet and said hi, please do. You know, I'm just there for fun, not to do business. So, but do come by and say hi. And now we're on to some fun because we're going to talk a couple little Q&A questions that people have proposed, brought to us, said to us, asked us about, and kind of all over the place. Basically, we had a back and forth a little bit with someone asking about what is a pattern, and asking, well, why does this coin look like the other coins, but it's not the same thing? And, you know, that is a coin that's a pattern. Now, a pattern, it's a very interesting subject area for collecting because, you know, a pattern is a coin that's been issued as a trial strike, and depending on the quantity, actually could have circulated, but then maybe didn't, right? So a lot of times you'll see patterns. If you go to the Judd book, Judd, Judd is like the book that has the numbering system that all of the grading companies use for patterns. If you go to that book, you'll see mintages oftentimes of 10 pieces to 50 pieces to 200 pieces. And then there's things that end up in the red book that have mintages of, you know, 2,000 pieces. And they're coins that actually circulated. So people collect them, even though they are considered a pattern, they're also considered not a pattern because people collect them outside of the pattern world. So there's like a crossover, if you will. So if you're looking at something like a Gobrek dollar, now these are expensive pieces, but also they have much higher mintages than most patterns do, and yet they're much more expensive. Your 1856 Flying Eagle cent, but then of course there's several versions of that that have really low mintages, but the most common one still, you know, there's a couple thousand of those things made, and so they are a pattern. What I'm intrigued by, and this is the place that's like happy conspiracy land for me, is the 2004 Wisconsin quarter, which I consider to be either a pattern or a trial strike when you have the extra leaf on them. So that is something that, of course, no one in numismatics agrees with, but I'm saying it here because I want to. The 2004 Wisconsin quarter clearly has extra leaves that have been by design placed on there, but the U.S. Mint never came out and admitted that it's an actual trial strike or pattern of any kind. They have just said, oh, it was some accident. There's some like shaving that came off and made this, which is like, time and space creating itself, whatever. That's a whole nother discussion. So the point is, patterns are generally put out by most countries as an issue that is a test of the design elements and the design style, oftentimes with really low mintages given to dignitaries so they can see it. Occasionally, they make small runs of them so that they can circulate amongst the peoples so that the government can see how the coin wears, sometimes even if there's a good reception to the coin overall. All right, patterns, ASE, right? Some other countries use them. They have a different term for them. All right, Bruce here is asking about crossing some coins over. I don't have an account at PCGS. Let me find the meat of this here. My question is, do you recommend, how's the best way to cross over an ANACS coin, keeping it in the original holder? Or if I want to get it into NGC, do I have to take it out? Like in the PCGS video. So I'm condensing here because there's a lot of words. But basically, wants to know, if I have an ANACS coin and I want it in an NGC holder, can I cross it over or not? And here's the thing that's still, mysterious to me. NGC does not take crossovers except for PCGS coins. So if you want a coin in an NGC holder, it has to be in a PCGS holder first before they cross over. So if you have any other holder, you have to crack it out of the holder before you send it in to NGC. But PCGS will take that ANACS coin in the holder and look at it and see if they agree with the grade and put it in their holder. So PCGS will actually look at coins that are even not normally recommended grading companies. So for example, you can send a coin in some old oddball holder, SEGs or ICG or some of those companies that maybe aren't up to the same standard or level as ANACS, or old PCI holders or whatever. If it's an old holder, they'll look at it and consider it for crossover. So Bruce, it's a good question. It's the type of thing that I have to add to the thought process, which is, what you don't want to do. All right, let me talk about grading really quick. Don't get coins graded. This is my new mantra, right? Like, don't play the game, just don't do it. It's not worth your time and money. That's the thing, right? But if you want to buy coins that are raw, buy coins that are raw. If you want to buy coins that are graded, buy coins that are graded. If you want to buy PCGS coins, buy PCGS coins. If you want it in an NGC holder, buy it already in an NGC holder. This is the best advice that I can give to anyone who's kind of new to collecting and trying to find their way and thinks that the whole grading game is something they want to play with because you can make money at it. That's not the point. The point here is to buy coins that you really enjoy. And if you want to minimize the heartache and the expense, you buy them in a holder that you already want them in. You don't buy them in a different holder. I know occasionally this still trips us up. Like, I get it. Like, you found that one coin you really, really wanted. It's the coin, and you've trained your eye. You know you want that coin, and it just happens to not be in the holder you want. I get that happens, but my commentary here is, hey, don't do it intentionally if you can avoid it. If don't do the crackouts, don't do the crossover. You know what I mean? Just like, if you've decided, hey, I only want these holders, just buy those holders, right? If you only want the coins in a certain company's holder because you like uniformity, I'm kind of like catch as catch can. Like, I buy raw, certified, yada yada. I buy a little bit of everything. And so, just think about it ahead of time when you're looking at your next coin purchase about what your parameters are for purchasing things. Okay, so we got this interesting question about are American Silver Eagle proof coins bullion coins or not? What is a bullion coin? What is bullion? So this actually, unfortunately, in the world we live in, where you want everything to be absolutely black and white, has a lot of gray. And it has a lot of gray for lots of reasons, and I'll talk about that here. We've got, first of all, the term bullion. So people get this confused a lot because usually the vernacular, when someone in the coin industry uses the term bullion, they're oftentimes referring to anything that trades at or near the price of the metal. There's not a set percentage that we're talking about for this traditional use of the word bullion. So traditionally, if someone had a bar of gold or a gold eagle, a bar of silver or a silver eagle, it was all just bullion. That is different than a lot of people understand it to be. A lot of people think that bullion is a bar and anything that's not a bar is not bullion. But that is not true. So, your silver eagles, your Libertads, all this stuff, it's bullion, right? So here's where things get a little bit more tricky in today's world. First of all, the modern media, well, I don't know what we want to call it. I don't know whether it was YouTube or Reddit or TikTok or Instagram. A lot of different things have caught on in the bullion market that has brought new terminology, like constitutional silver, which of course didn't exist 10 years ago. It was just junk silver or 90% silver. Also, bullion, right? The value of the item changes based on the price of gold or silver. That's kind of how I view things to be bullion in very general terms. Okay. Now, where it gets a little bit more loosey-goosey is like there are thousands, tens of thousands of coins that sell all the time on eBay and places like that, where, you know, your proof silver eagles, half the time someone puts them in bullion, and half the time they just go ahead and put them in numismatic instead. And this can cause a lot of confusion. Now, I actually had my own term that I used to use and sometimes still use, and that's glorified bullion, which is to say, you know, this stuff is bullion, but it has a premium to it, you know, that type of thing. Trying to track when something actually steps out of the bullion realm and into the numismatic world is very, very tricky. So there is an actual definition here for my municipality that says anything that's within 200% of the price of the metal is considered bullion. So if silver's at 30 bucks, anything up to 60 bucks an ounce is still considered bullion. But at least there's a definition that somebody gave in a legal aspect. Now, depending on the state you're in, they're going to define things very differently. Arizona doesn't charge tax on bullion. Some of your states do. And so all of a sudden this concept becomes like important to somebody because of, guess what? Taxation. Hey, guess what's coming up? April 15th. You heard of it? I don't know. Mental note. File an extension. So, but this is one of my favorite things. Like I'm generally just avoiding all of the world of politics anymore. That's not who I am anymore. But also, you know, this is when you create an action, this is economics at work. I like economics. So when you create an action, aka taxation, it creates another reaction, which is to say, all of a sudden people will change the definition of something. So it matters a lot to people whether something is bullion or numismatic or not, because they may or may not have to pay a tax on it depending on the municipality, their state, their local government, right? My general just dumb version of me just says, hey, if it changes price because the price of gold or silver changed, it's bullion, right? So if I'm using that really basic terminology, there's a lot of stuff that's like that next tier that doesn't necessarily move that would get excluded. But it does go into my glorified bullion camp, which is to say there's a lot of stuff that was already priced at $35 a coin on an ounce. I said Libertads earlier. And silver goes from $22 to $27 and we still have them priced at $35. So they're kind of like in quasi bullion land, right? And you can go up whatever scale, and people want to find a clean cut point for this stuff, and it's just not always clean cut. And so it's really funny because I forget sometimes about the fact that other states charge tax on bullion. And so all the states, there's just all of the things. It's just too much fun. So if we really want to poke the bear, we just say, hey, YouTube, all you guys down there out in YouTube land, why don't you go ahead and comment on whether proof silver eagles are bullion or not? And then you can just watch people fight to the death because it's very important. So having said all that, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Let me know what bullion is, and we'll have another discussion some other time. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.